Hey, good morning guys. Welcome back to the First Time Gardener. I'm your host, Ed Froelich. So we're out here this morning. It's right at 7 o'clock. Wanted to try to get an earlier start today because it's been pretty hot out here lately. I'm going to set up a table, and today we are planting our fall garden seeds of the ones that I have. I only have about half of them right now. My second batch that I had ordered, for whatever reason, they sent them to my old address. So they're resending them out. I haven't received them yet, but we are going to plant some flowers today, and we are going to plant some seeds for the fall garden, which is going to be 2 sets of different onions. We're going to do red onion, a sweet onion, and we're going to do some carrots. And we're going to start those in a seed starting trays. I'm going to show you how to put all that together. Y'all hang out, stay tuned, and we're going to get it all going here in just a minute, planting our seeds. We are back. I've set up a table with my growing trays. These are something I got off of Amazon. What I like about them is they're a 3-part system. You have a pan, which will catch any water that goes in there, so you can actually put water in the bottom of the pan and let the sucklings suck up the water that they need. They also have a drain hole so the water won't root rot your seedlings. And then there's another, which also comes with this, is a plastic cap that comes over there, so you can use it as like a greenhouse effect. These aren't the best, they're kind of a mediocre seed tray, but if you're careful with them, like you can see, these are dirty. I've already used those to grow flowers. You can reuse them at least once, maybe twice, before you really have to reorder some. And I usually mark what I'm planting in the tray. So I just cut some cardboard right now. So on the one side I have what it is, the date I started them, and then on the back side I put how many days till maturity, which the red onions, they're 110 days. The carrots are 75 days till harvest time, and the Texas sweets are 115 days. So they're all a little bit different. Now these are going to be over winter grown, so these onions and carrots won't be picked until February or March of next year. We're starting our seed trays now, so within 4 to 6 weeks we're going to take our plants here that we have growing from seed, and we're going to transplant them into the garden. And that 6 weeks period will give us enough time for our cover crops to grow, and we can turn them into the ground. Plus I'm going to add 10-10-10 fertilizer. I'm going to add some peat moss. I'm going to add some potting soil, and I'm going to add some black cow manure to all the areas that we're going to be growing over the winter. But we'll show you how to mix all that stuff in another video later when it comes closer to planting. All right, this bag's a little too big to pour, so I'm going to go ahead and take it out by hand and fill the trays up. So you just want to make sure you get all the cylinders filled, and after they're filled and leveled, we're going to compress them, and we're going to water them down so that they have moisture in. Get ready for the growing part of it. We're going to put the seeds in, and we're going to put 1/4 of an inch. Most of these are 1/8 to 1/4 inch depth. They're not big seeds, so they don't take a lot of depth in order to plant. So we're just going to press these down, and then we'll leave it hopefully a 1/4 inch gap. Once we put the seed in, we'll put a 1/4 inch of this over it and water it in again, and then we'll be ready to get them started. Okay guys, just like that. Now what we're going to do is you want to take your fingers and you want to compress. You want to compress that potting soil, because a lot of problem that people have with germination is if you don't have a tight substance and matter for the seed to grow into, if you have a lot of air when you're starting the seeds will just rot. They won't germinate very well. So you want to try to make sure that your soil is pretty compact, and you just go through every cell, push it down, make sure it's good and compact. All right, it's going to take a few minutes for me to do this, so I'm going to go ahead and finish doing this first step, and then I'll bring you back. We have them all filled, pushed down. So the next step we want to do is I want to take water, and I want to water them in to get everything moist. So I'm just going to go ahead and do a quick moistening, so all that gets some water. That way it gets a good start. One of these days I'm going to have a grow table, and then because they have shade screening too, so I'd like to grow these in a 60% shade coverage instead of during the full sun, and then after they're up about 2 inches, then you can transfer them from there out to the full sun, and they call what they call hardening off. But unfortunately I don't have it, so we're going to put it in one of my empty beds. You just have to make sure that you keep it watered real well. Okay, and the other thing is, after you wet it down, you let it soak in real good. Then you're just going to take these. That'll help. Settle anything you got there. All right, I'm going to let this soak for about 15 minutes, and then we're going to come back and we'll go ahead and start planting. Okay guys, it's been about 15 minutes now. Everything is kind of settled in. We've got a good moist soil. So we're going to head and we are going to plant our Texas super sweet onions first. And I'm going to try to do 1 seed per cell, so I don't have to worry about thinning them out later. Hopefully the germination is good. I'm going to try to put it 1 seed right dead in the center. Now these are little, so and just so you know, it says planting depth is 1/4 of an inch, so that's what most of them are. So hopefully the germination will be close to 100%, so that I get a good amount of onions to start. All right, anyway, that's what we're doing, 1 at a time in each cell. I'm gonna bring you back once we get them all done. All right, everyone, I've got these 2 trays planted. So what I did, this whole tray is all the sweet Texas onions. This tray here, I did 3 rows of the Texas onion, and then these last 2 are red onion, because we don't need a whole lot of red onion. I have a lot of sweet onions seeds left over, so what I'm going to do when I do plant these in the earth garden, I'm going to make a row and I'm going to sow them in the ground with the seeds. Those are going to be my bunching onions, so like you can pull them out when they're just a little bulb for like scallions, so you can chop them in a salad or use them to cooking and stuff. So that's what I'm going to do with the rest of the seeds that I have. We got all the seeds in, so now we're just going to put 1/4 of an inch of soil over that, and these will be ready to go out in the garden. So I'm just going to sprinkle this lightly. We've got the soil compacted down to like 1/4 of an inch from the top of the pan. We're just going to overfill it a little bit because this will compact again. Right now it looks like more than 1/4, but once we cover it up and pack it, it should be just right. All right, so you just want to make sure you're packed good. You don't want a lot of air. Okay, I'm going to do this other one here, and then we're going to start this other seeds for the carrots. All right guys, that's it. They're all done. Well, I'm just going to hit them with a very quick water on top, since we put more soil on the top of them. And then we're going to bring them over. We're going to mark them, which we have, and then we're going to bring them over in the garden. Just that quick, because the other one on the bottom that we originally did was pretty saturated. I just want to put a little bit on the top. It's really hot out, so yeah, that's it. So I'm going to bring these over to the garden, and we're going to put them in there, and that's where we're going to start them, since I don't have a starting table. All right, let me show you what we're going to do there. All right guys, we're just going to lay them down side by side here. I've got the little posts in there to tell me what they are, so that I don't forget. And because of this little one right here, she likes to get in the garden and dig up underneath stuff. That's why this little fencing thing is here, just to keep her from getting in there. All right, let's go back over to the table, and we are going to plant the carrots next. All right guys, so next is the bolero carrots. And like I said, the bolero carrots, basically onions and carrots, can be in combination with each other, and they don't compete against nutrients and that stuff. They're compatible growing. So that's what we're going to do. Now these seeds are very small, so I'm going to plant one seed in each one, and we're going to do 2 trays of carrots. I want to show you the sides of the seeds you're planting. They're not big at all. They're very tiny. Actually, these are a little bit bigger than last year's carrots I grew. Those were half the size, so these are a little bigger. But anyway, that's what you're dealing with. So we're going to do the same thing we did. We're going to put one carrot in each cell. I just find this, I know it's more tedious, but when you're putting a whole row of carrots in, and then you got to thin them out, and there's so many, it's hard to thin them out sometimes, because the other ones want to pull up. So I rather just try my best on trying to germinate one seed at a time. So each one of these that germinate will be one carrot, and you can separate them, put them on your 3 to 4 inch intervals, and you're good to go, and you don't have to worry about them again. That's just my thought on them. Now, this is for a small gardener. If you're a commercial grower and you're trying to grow carrots, yeah, I would probably get a seeder. They have manual seeders that you can put the seeds in and they drop them. I would probably do that versus trying to do these one at a time. Now, you know what? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put 2 seeds in each one, so to help the germination process, and then I'll just snip off the ones that don't look good. I'll take the strongest of the 2, snip the other one off. I'll try to separate the seeds a little bit so they're not on top of each other. I'm going to do the same thing I did, put soil, 1/4 of an inch soil over this, and I'm going to put it in the garden. That's going to be the carrots, and the next one we'll do is going to be some flowers. Stick around. Alright guys, so we have 2 seeds in every cell, separated by a little bit. I'll try to put one just each side out of center, so it makes it easier to snip off if you have a bad one. If they all come up good, I might be able to separate the cell in half and have 1 plant for each. But that's the goal, is to have one plant that you put in, so you don't have to prune it, and the carrot has a good chance to grow. These are supposed to grow to 6 to 8 inches long and be consistent in size. Like some carrots go from fat on top to pointy. These are supposed to be round pretty much all the way down, almost to the point. So anyway, now we're going to just put some soil on top of here to do the 1/4 inch, give it a shot, and in the garden it goes. And just like that, we got a 1/4 inch on top. All right, guys, you kind of see what we're doing here. So I'm going to finish this up. I've got a tag to stick in there for the carrots, and we'll put those side by side so we know that they're all carrots. All right, and then the next step is we're going to start some flowers. We are going to hit it with quick water, real quick. All right, that's it. We're going to put our little flag in there so we know what that is, and we're going to put them over to the garden where the other ones were. All right, so we will follow up on those in the garden in about 7 to 10 days, see if they've all germinated, see what kind of percentage we have. The bags say about 96% germination rate, so that's good if we get that. And then we'll go from there. So next up, we're going to do some flowers. I'm going to go get some seeds out of the garage, and I'll be back and I'll explain about the flowers. We're going to plant some flowers, and this is kind of a unique planting because these are seeds that I've picked from flowers that I have in my yard that went to seed, and we're going to replant them. It's an easy way. Once you buy a plant that has the seeds on there, if you cultivate the seeds when they die, after the flowers die, you pick the blooms off. Most of those flowering buds have seeds inside, and if you let them dry out, you can replant them. So that's what we're going to do here today, because the more flowers you have in the garden area, the more the bees will and the butterflies will congregate, and that's what helps pollinate your garden. So anyway, let me take you down. I'm going to show you some of these unique seeds I have. Okay guys, so these are some yellow daisies. I bought them from Lowe's. I bought 3 plants, and you can see the flowers. They're real pretty, but then over here, those little brown spots, those are the flowers that have dried up. Now inside those are seeds. So as these flowers die off on here, if you pick all these, you can see, get a good shot there. You can pick all these dead flowers. I don't know if you can see, there's seeds in there. See all those seeds that are in there? You can go ahead and plant those seeds and develop these plants. Again, so that's one of the seeds that we are going to be planting here. In a little while, I'm going to show you. The other are marigolds. They really grow well. They do well all through the heat of the summer, into the spring, and into the fall, but they do not like hard freezes. But they will last if you cover them up with a blanket. If you only have one hard freeze, you can get away with them. So that's one of the other ones that we're going to do. Now here is a zinnia plant. And these are all grown from the seeds that I had from previous plants. And they grow pretty good. All you got to do is break the dead ones open, throw them out in the dirt, and they'll grow. But those we're going to do in another part of the garden. We're not going to be planting those in our grow beds. Here's a pretty yellow one that I'm going to save this. It's the first yellow one I have. So I'm going to save that when that dies so I can get the seeds from that to grow more yellow. And we have an orange one as well. And the butterflies and the bees just love those. They really attract good. So I'm going to plant heavy and thick on those over by the garden. All right, let's go back to the table. Okay guys, let me just show you. So those are the seeds from the yellow daisy plant that I just showed you out beside my house. The ones that I bought from Lowe's. And I've got, you can see how many seeds I have. I got a bunch of them. We're going to be planting those. And then on my way to work, alongside of the road, they have a bunch of these marigolds planted, and they're yellow. I don't have a yellow marigold, so what I did is I just picked some of these here. I've got more in the garage, but I'm going to plant some yellow marigolds here in the seed to go. Now these are flower remnants of a red daisy that my sister gave me. And you can see it's loaded with seeds. If we can get that. There you go. You can see a little better now. So we're going to take all those, and I'm going to put several of these seeds in each cell because I want a nice big full bush if they grow. Now this one right here, I picked from Lowe's. When I was at Lowe's yesterday, I went through the garden section, and it was a really nice daisy with a reddish burgundy center, and those were the flowers that had died off. And you can see all those little wormy sticks there. That's all seeds from there. So we're going to plant those and see if we can't get those to grow as well. And then the zinnias I'm going to put right into the garden. I'm going to show you. Come on, let me show you real quick. I don't want this video to be too long, and I don't want you to get bored, but this section right here where all this trash is, and that's where I had my herbs last year growing. I'm going to make this from that point all the way to here. I'm going to just do that whole section in flowers to draw the bees and the butterflies. That way I don't have to incorporate it into the plots that I'm going to do. Anyway, let's take you back over to the table. We're going to plant these flower seeds, and then we're going to go. Oh, here's one thing too, like right there, those plants are from zinnia plant that I had in the garden here earlier, that the seeds dropped off of the blooms, and they're already growing. So these are real easy to grow. You don't have to do anything to them. Just bust up the flower bulb, just sprinkle all the seeds around the ground, just turn them in, so you try to get them under the ground, and boom, you'll have zinnias growing everywhere in no time. They're a real hardy, quick plant to grow if you want flowers in your garden or just around your house too as well. All right, let's get back to our table and what our video's about. Okay guys, so I'm going to separate these a little bit. I'm going to put one row of the red daisies that my sister gave me, and you can see there's a lot of seeds in there, but I'm just going to put a lot of seeds in each one. If it clumps up into a nice big bush, I'll be happy. The more the better. Put as many of these as you want in there, because the more that germinate, the nicer looking bush you're going to have to plant around your house or wherever. Now these are going to go around the house in the perimeter just for our landscaping. They're not going in the garden. And I'm putting ones from different flower heads, because I want to make sure that something's going to germinate. One flower head might be dead and the other ones might be vibrant, so I'm doing a little bit from all of them just to make sure I get germination. So that'll give me 8 bushes right there. Okay guys, well I'm going to do this with each of my bulbs, and then we're going to water them in. I'm going to put a 1/4 inch topsoil or potting soil over them and put them in the garden next to the other ones I have, and these are going to be our flowers. Alright guys, that's our flower tray. Got them all marked so I know which is what when they come up. That's important because they all look the same when they come up. It's hard to remember, especially if you got a lot of stuff growing. Alright, we're going to just hit this with a little bit of water and we'll put it out in the garden real quick. We're probably going to move these over to another plot because I have some green beans coming. We still got plenty of summer left, and green beans do good in the summertime. So I'm going to plant green beans here on that edge. But we have our onions, And then we have our carrots. And then we have our floral flowers. And I'm going to do some other buckets with some floral that I'm not going to videotape. This is, I think, going to be long enough. Let me ask you guys a question. This video and the ones I've done in the past, is it too much information? Am I taking too long? Are you getting bored? Or am I not putting enough information in? I'm missing some stuff, or is it just right? Let me know in the comments, because the last thing I want to do is bore you guys. I'm trying to teach you, and I'm trying to grow my channel as well, so just let me know. All right, so that's the end of this segment. We're going to follow these along in the next week or two, show you the development and when they finally pop up. And then these are going to go about, the onions and carrots are going to go about 4 to 6 weeks until we put them in the ground, depending on how big they get in their growing buckets. I might have to plant them sooner than I want to, but anyway, we'll see. All right, thanks for watching. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel. It's a new channel, we're trying to build it, so I appreciate all the views. And until we see you next time, thank you, God bless, take care, we'll see you on the next one.